now going to touch the pad. Everybody in the world fused. Yeah. Now then, crew, and welcome back to the Andy Mechanic YouTube channel. And Tool Girl Sam is here yet again with her new cap. Look at that. Very swish. You like that, don't you?
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Legit.
And it's got the tang on. Just give us a little twirl, because it's got a little tang on the side and Pico scuff on this side. Ah, she's all logoed out now. You look like you're a little bit like a pit girl out on the racetrack. Yeah, pretty good. Okay, so what is this video all about? Well, I've been using this as a doorstop for quite some time, and it came off the RAV4. Now the RAV4, rest in peace, died about 18 months ago. We decided to strip it down for parts, sold a ton of the parts, and the reason why, because the engine died, it wasn't worth fixing, and the car only actually cost me $500 when I bought it. It's pretty cheap, actually. For a RAV4 it was dirt cheap, but it had a few faults which I fixed. But when the engine died, I priced it all up. Even doing it myself just wasn't worth the hassle. And trying to get hold of a good second-hand RAV4 engine, even though there's lots on the road, was very, very difficult. And the ones that I did find were crazy expensive, and the car just wasn't worth it when it had a base price of $500. So Sam said to me this morning, "Hey Andy, that doorstop, what is it?" And I said, "Well, actually, it's the pump, that the compressor that forms part of an air conditioning system that came off that RAV4." So rather than tripping over it anymore, I thought, hey, let's pull it apart, have a look inside, see how it works, and well, see if we can find any faults with it. I don't think the air conditioning in the car ever worked. That could have been because it had no gas in it. Maybe it had a leak and all the gas, all the refrigerant dispersed into the atmosphere, which wouldn't have helped the polar bears, no doubt. So, first job, Sam, is we're going to check to see if the electromagnetic clutch in there is working, because that's usually a common failure for your air conditioning not operating. That clutch, which is basically an electromagnet, you know, it can burn out. There's little friction plates in there as well. They can wear out as well, and then basically the engine fails to drive the pump. Obviously, there are many other reasons why your aircon could have failed as well. I'm not an air conditioning expert. I did teach it at Unitech for a few years, like once a year for 5 years. We did maybe a week on it. So I know the basics, and I have pulled a few pumps apart, much to the you know, enthusiasm of my students. Because the other lecturers never used to pull pumps apart, and I used to say, no, the way we learn is we take stuff apart. And I used to get them to lay all the parts out on the bench and label up all the components. Other lecturers thought I was mental, but that was the way that the kids learn. It was really good, hands-on stuff, and they used to love taking bits apart. When I told them to put that together again, well, then they weren't quite so happy, but they had to remember. So they used to make little videos, and they could watch the videos, and they took pictures as they disassembled the stuff. So that definitely helped them to reassemble them correctly. All right, Sam, so this is going to be something that you're going to be doing. You're on the tools now. We've done lots of talking today, and we actually need to get on the tools. So I'll have another slurp of my coffee. Sam's working me very hard today. It's her turn to work me hard. I'm sort of rushing through, unfortunately, so my apologies if it feels that way. Okay, well, where do we start? Well, there's a wire just sticking off, and this is the wire here that comes from the electromagnet, and it goes to a plug, and in that plug it's got 3 terminals, which I wasn't expecting, so maybe it does other stuff as well. It does, yes, there's a sensor on there as well. So 2 of the wires will be, one will be a power, one will be a ground, and the 3rd wire will be coming off the white wire that goes somewhere. No idea what that does just yet. We'll find out. Okay, let's get it mounted in the vise and see if we can get that clutch to work. Here we go. Yeah, Sam, it's quite heavy. It's really heavy. You got it?
Yeah.
You sure? Okay, cool.
Just, my arms are shaky.
Just do a few reps. There we go. Look, it's like in the gym. Easy. All right, Sam, you better pop some gloves on, I think. There you go. Okay. There, look, there's 2 wires that go in there. Don't know what the hell that is. Haven't come across one of those bits before. We'll find out though. Okay. That'll work. Now, does the pump turn? Oh man. It doesn't. Maybe it's semi-seized. Let's get a socket on there, Sam, and see if we can get it to turn. Looks like a 12. How are your gloves doing? I think I need some as well, actually. It's pretty grubby. What size feet do you take? What size shoes?
Like 8.5, 9.
9, that's New Zealand size, right? Good to know. Okay, if you come around here, look, that should turn because the clutch isn't engaged when there's no power to it, but it seems to be seized. So if you pop that on there, see if you can get it to turn, because that could be a reason why. Oh, okay, cool. All right, so yeah, you can just see if you can free it off a little bit. It should start to turn a bit freer after a couple of turns. Cool. Is it easier now?
Yeah.
Yeah, brilliant. Okay, it's because it's been used as a doorstop for like a couple of years. It's just rusted up basically because the rain comes in. Okay, so now we need to identify which wire it is that energizes that winding in there. So you can pull your ratchet off for a minute. Okay, so we've got 2 wires going in. One's a ground, and that one there is the power. So what we need to do is we'll undo that screw there first. See if you can get that undone, look. So it's that way. Other way. Give it a little tap so we can get the screwdriver to sit a bit better. Sorry, Brandon. Right, go on then. So 2 hands. I can do the bionic sound if you want on the editing.
Not even.
No. You got it?
No, just turn the corner instead.
Killed it.
Broke it.
It's alright. I'll give it another go. Maybe I can, maybe I can't. I don't know. Maybe you destroyed it now. Oh, you have. Alright. Oops. Okay, next job. It's alright. It's all good. It's all part of the job. Okay, I'm going to cause earthquakes on the camera because we've got the camera on the bench at the moment, but such is life. So it's definitely rounded off. I'll show you that because I cannot get it to turn. Sam's sort of taken all the little... You did a good job though, it was a good effort, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It's not your fault it's seized up, it's just the way it is. So we'll put a little punch mark on the side. There we are, and then we'll use the punch just to tap it round, hopefully. Has it moved? I think it has, Sam. Maybe not far enough. There's nothing to get hold of. It's definitely moving. Try and do it so you can see what I'm doing. Right. Oh yes. Wow, it's bent.
Yep.
So I've bent it and got it out. Okay. Coolio. Right, so what we've got there then, that's our ground wire, and that one is our feed. So we'll just disconnect that. Here, look, little pointy screwdriver, little flat screwdriver. So we'll pop that in there. And that should, there we are, bring that out of there. Great stuff. So we can get rid of that little clamp. And then we're going to need to find a battery, 12-volt battery, and that's earth, so that's negative on the battery. And we'll put a little fly lead onto there with a little crocodile clip and see if it's going to work. I don't know if it does or not. We'll test it. This is how you would test it. Okay, let's find some more stuff. Right, Sam. One battery, nice and warm. It's been on charge all morning. And a couple of fly leads. So we'll use green as ground. Jeez. Okay. So you stick that one on the battery negative, which is that one, isn't it? There you go. Stick the green one on the negative. And you can attach that to here, look, on the little eyelet. That'll do. So you can get that down there. There we go. And that one on for positive. No fuse, so we're risking our lives here. Did it spark? Did it? Look at that. Did you jump? Cool. Alright, so the question is, if I turn this now, this is driven by the belt. So when I turn this, it should turn the pump. Okay, disconnect that. It's seized up, isn't it? Pump's not seized, but the pulley's seized. What's going on there? Most bizarre. So, we've definitely got a circuit because it's sparking. So why is it seized up? Well, one way to find out, we'll pull it apart and have a look. Okay, so you're going to need your little Makita impact wrench, which is in the second drawer, I think.
The small.
Yeah, we'll start off small.
Oh.
We might have to go to big. You never know. Now, it's 12, isn't it? I think there's a 12 on here, from memory. Oh, there isn't. 12 is the one that's missing. We've got 13 and 11. So we're going to have to be dangerous. You can use the same socket that you had on there, look. You feeling strong? Can you give it a go? Because it's a bit tight, that one, to get on. You can make the noise.
I think I got it.
You got it? Oh, so good. Right, is it in do up or undo? It's in do up. So you want undo mode. So click your little thing through. There, look. There you go. It should undo now. Right, let's give it a go. See if we can get on that nut and pull the nut off. Oh, that was easy, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
How does it?
Just give it a tap on the bench nut for you.
No.
Oh, like this. Now I'm trying to there, look. There you go. Easy. You got it sussed. You just warming up. Okay. So we now need to. That centre should be able to come out. Now there does appear to be a bit of an inspection hole up here, so we can maybe get a little flat screwdriver in there and just give it a little bit of a persuasion, maybe, to get it off. Maybe. It does feel like it's coming. It does. Just keep turning it, Sam, for us. Maybe I'll find a better screwdriver. That one's a bit flimsy. See if I can get in with a big one.
Yeah, that's moving. Oh, the thing.
There we are.
Great.
Give it a turn.
Which way? Left?
Oh, it doesn't matter. About 90 degrees would be good there. Or is it tight?
Yes.
There we are. Alright, you ready?
It's like moving that section. It's like doing half of it.
That looks like a rubber damper in there, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It is coming because I can see a gap now up here. Yeah. See if I can get in here with it. Yeah. The joys of editing. Oh, I see. Yeah, it's just flexing on there, isn't it? Maybe. I'm butterfingers today, aren't I? What's going on there?
Gloves.
That's what it is. Right, I reckon we can give it a little tap on the shaft. It is coming. Slowly. Oh yes. Ta-da!
Nice.
Oh, it's full of rust.
It's orange.
Good old RAV4. Okay, let's have a little look. Oh. Jeez. Okay, now I've just spotted a little circlip in there. You see the circlip? So the next job is to extract the circlip. So we'll have to do a bit of an overhead thing, I think. They might do it. So, if you want to give that a go, squeeze them together. That circlip should come out, hopefully. Cool, we've had loads of fun with circlips, haven't we? Remember? Right, just let it go a little bit. Let go. You can take it out now. Right, I've got my screwdriver wedged underneath. I reckon we can get it out using that. Got it! Okay, one circlip. Now the next job is to remove something else. I think it's going to be the other half of this clutch mechanism, and that's why there was a circlip there. And I'm hoping behind that's a ring of bolts so we can get this casing off. Hopefully. They're all designed a little bit differently, so you never quite know what's going to happen. Yeah, because there aren't any... Oh, maybe the whole thing will come off. Hang on. Let's have a go. Maybe it will. Ah, wrong hammer. We need the magic hammer, Sam. You're going to give it a bash. Alright, Sam, so you're going to be sort of hitting it upwards if you can.
Like on the
Yeah, it's all scraps, so anywhere you like, really. Oh, I think it is moving.
I think it's moving.
I think it is. Maybe I can get the flat screwdriver just down there. Right, give it another go. Okay, let me try from this side of it. Oh, it is coming, but man, it's really corroded. There you go, keep going. My fingers. Yay!
Ew.
Holy moly!
That's why, look at that.
Yeah.
Leafing off.
All the paint's come off, it's all rusty. That's the electromagnet. So, just for shits and giggles, that's what they say, isn't it, on YouTube?
Yeah.
Just for shits and giggles, let's plumb that back up again. So positive into there. Negative on there. Right, Sam, can you just hold that screwdriver about 10 mil away from the electromagnet and we'll see what happens. Is it working?
I saw all the stuff on top move. See, look at that. Oh, fuck.
Are you swearing again, girl?
Yep. I wasn't expecting it, but I was.
Hang on a minute, maybe we need something that's slightly more metal. What's going on?
My lip. No, that would
Oh, there you
hurt.
go. Try that. Yeah, don't put your lip to it. Stainless steel like that, isn't it?
I don't know.
You're piercing?
Medical grade steel.
There you go.
Because a lot of people can get infected just from...
So that's you. Oh, there you go. Right.
Yeah, on top, that's why it gave me a...
Ugh. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'll turn it off. Turn it back on again. Yeah, you can see that. So the magnet itself
Still works.
does work, doesn't it? Pretty cool. Not that
So weird.
not that it's any use whatsoever.
No.
And I used to get the students.
Ew.
I used to get the students to do that just for a hell of it, to activate the magnet. Right, I've just spotted the next level. So down here, under all this rust and corrosion, it was only a doorstop, so it did a great job as a doorstop. But down there is another circlip, just to annoy us even further. Now we can't use these 90-degree ones because they won't go all the way down. So I'm going to have to delve in my other toolbox. Oh no! I want a red pair. I was going to blow all the rust away, but it'll only go in your eyes, so I better not. Alright, Sam, can you hold that effect? Hang on. Yeah, go on. Let's see if we can get it out of that. It's alright, I got it. He says he's got it, but you never know. Right. It's very rusty. Mutilation time. God, that is really rusty. But it's also now very bent, so it's alright. Okay, it's coming out, it's coming out, it's going to come out. There you go. I'm not very good with stuff, am I? I tend to destroy it. Okay. I wonder if we can just lever it off rather than break the crap out of it, because it'd be quite, bloody good. Right. So there we go. That is the electromagnet, and that's like hundreds and hundreds of turns of wire in there. That's all insulated. So when you put a current through, it creates a magnetic field. You did that at school, didn't you?
No, I dropped out of science.
Oh, science is the best bit. So we stick that back on there again. And do that. Doesn't matter which way around it is. So now, again, you ready? You watching? Pretty cool, isn't it? I'm going to use that for something. Right, recycle it. Okay, so we're down to the bare pump. Yeah, this is the compressor. So we've taken the method of engagement and disengagement off, because the belt's always turning on the car, isn't it? It's always powering the alternator and the water pump and bits and pieces. But this pump, this compressor, doesn't want to run all the time. It only wants to run when you want air conditioning, and B, when the pressure in the system has dropped a bit. So you get to play with the tools now, Sam. All right. Okay. So what we need now is to take off this. No, let's do the top bit first. We'll do the end plate next. Right, we'll get rid of the battery. Take that off, you don't get sparks. Okay, so it's all Allen keys, so that looks like a number 6 to me. Or maybe we should take the wires off first. 8mm spanner. Or socket in this case. Right, here you go, Sam. Do things speedy. There you go, you want that. Come around this side. There you go. So you've got 2 little bolts, one there and one there. Can you buzz those out for us? There you go. Perfect. One down. I'm not sure we should get one on now. Yes. Professional. Cool. Okay. Now, just before we pull this top off, you notice we've got a pipe basically connects to here. That's either an inlet or an outlet. We don't know yet which, but we'll soon find. If it was on the car, we could easily work it out, but as it is, we've just got the pump. We're not too sure whether that's the inlet or the outlet, but there's also another one here. So I would say that usually, from memory, the big pipe is the low pressure, and the small pipe is the high pressure. So that would be the low pressure in, that would be the high pressure out, but we'll reserve judgment until we pull it apart. Alright, Sam, I think, yes. Can you stick that on the end of your impact wrench for us, so you can pull that one off? Or is it too tight?
Trying. Oh.
Nearly. They are really tight, aren't they? Until the end of that tool wears a little bit. Awesome. Right. It's very, very dirty, this thing. Are you on? Okay, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 now. So you've got to make sure you're all the way in on that cap. We call them cap heads. Wait, it's tight, isn't it? Try again. Okay, all right. Let's crack them off by hand first. See what we've got. Where's my ratchet gone? There it is. Okay, so I'll just crack those off a little bit for you. They were tight. Jeez. Oh, that's going to round off. Awesome. God! That was really tight. Okay. Give this one another go. I think it might round off down. We might have to use alternative measures to get this one out. Done it. There you go. Right, you can buzz them out now. Go for it. That was easy.
Sweet.
Super job. I do like this new tool, you know. It's good, isn't it? It's nice and light as well. Right, we've got some more bolts for the bits box. We'll be reuse those. Okay, flat screwdriver. Let's have a little look under here. It might be a bit oily, but it's not dangerous. Right. Okay.
It's not oily.
Cool. So under there, we've got essentially those are the inlets and those are the outlets. So it's just really there's no valves in there by the looks of it. It's just inlet outlet, just like a manifold we call that. Okay. So we'll put that over there. Now the next job is going to be to undo these bolts on the end, and these bolts run all the way through, and the whole thing will just fall apart. It doesn't take long to pull them apart, actually. Right. Okay.
Is that Allen key as well?
Yeah, it is same size, I think. I'm not sure that tool will undo them though. I might have to crack them off first. Right. Let's do the same thing. Can I borrow that socket again? Because I've only got one. I'm poor. Okay. Yeah. See if you can undo that.
Which way?
That way. Oh, too good. Too tight. Oh, look at that. Bloody professional. You gotta make the noise. Yeah. Good job. I always find, you know, as I'm getting older, and I'm not denying the fact that I'm getting older, because we're all getting older. But do you ever make a noise when you get out of the chair? Sometimes you go.
You go like,
You go,
whoa! Why did I make that noise?
And then you realise you've done the noise, and you go, shit, I must be getting old.
Yep.
Yeah.
You can't do
You can't do that one? Alright, hang on then. There you go. I'll put that sound effect on again. Such a cool noise. Mind your fingers. Yeah. Is that extra high? Did the job? Oh, how's your hand? Is it hurting?
that. Set my wrist.
Oh, you didn't, did you? Oh, I'll do the last one for you so you don't aggravate it. How's that? Alright, cool. Joys of being a mechanic, girl. There you go. You can do the easy stuff now. And they should be really long. They should go all the way through the body.
Oh wow.
Yeah, cool. I can use those for something. That's the main reason why I pull these things apart, is just for that. Cool. Free washer as well. Excellent. Bloody good. Awesome job. Last one. And then you're on it. Okay. Washers going everywhere. Okay, now we've got to be careful because the end plate might just fall off because everything is, well, I say loose because it's all seized up, but it's potentially going to fall off. Okay, we want to have a look inside. Let me move the camera. Now we've finished bashing stuff, we can get the camera a bit nearer. Right, you can see the join there, look. What I'll do is I'm looking around here to see if there's anywhere I can get a screwdriver in just to give it a little lever, but it doesn't look like it. So we'll just give it a bit of unicorn blood. Sorry, more bashes. In fact, yeah, Sam. You got more luck than I have with that. Go on, give it a bit of a tap on there. And again. Oh! The bottom fell out. That's alright.
Lucky no one's toes are under there.
Well, it is, isn't it, really? You did a good job. Okay, so we've got part of it. Alright, I'm going to hold that bit now. So, same again. Okay, try up there, because it's got more leverage. And then one on the other side. Yeah, it's coming. Where's my little screwdriver? See if we can coax that in there. So good. Yeah, pull it off then. Is it going to come off?
I think it needs to. Oh.
Looks very cool inside. Oh, is it the little keys in the way, is it? It is. Damn. Okay, let's just tap the key out of the way then. That's annoying. Do you think it would come off without that bit? Right, Sam. Yeah, give it a go. Bloody cool. So there's the key. Can't lose that. Not that we need it again, but there we are. And then inside here. Sorry, I get you. Right, inside here. If we, where's that nut gone? Where do we put the nut that went on the end of the shaft? The very first thing we ever took off.
These two?
No, the one that went on here, look. Oh, there. If we stick that back on there, then we can wind it down. 12 more start. There we go. Okay, so we'll wind that down. It should just grip the shaft, and then the shaft should start to look at that.
Ah, that's cool.
It's pretty seized up, actually, is that pump. Maybe we'll stick a bit of lube in it. We'll get some spray. Back in a second. Yeah, Sam. Just see if you can spray some of that down the cylinders while I'm giving it a turn.
Down there?
Yeah, just to lube it up because it's obviously really dry. That's it. Cool. Oh, that's a lot better. So you can tell that this pump has had no lubrication in it. There should be some oil in this pump. And that oil is mixed in with the refrigerant. But obviously it's been running dry for a long time and it's killed the pump, to be honest. So I feel a lot better now that I'm taking it apart. Still pretty tight. Okay, good fun though, seeing all those move up and down. And when we get a bit further into it, you'll see how that actually, how the machine, the pump, changes a rotational force into moving those up and down. It's really quite clever how it does it. Okay, so the next job, you see we've got some more pistons this side. It's pretty good. It's got like basically 10, it's a 10 cylinder, like an engine, really. Right, I'll stick that in there. And then we'll see if we can split the pump. Hopefully we can, without too much grief. And you can catch all the bits. I think, I don't think there's any more bolts. It should just now separate, hopefully. Coming, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right. Okay, steady away, because those pistons should then come out of those bores.
Yeah.
They'll probably all fall on the floor now, look. Right, if you want to pull that back, keep going. Does it go all the way? Yeah. Oh, we've got a wire. Oh no! Wire. Okay, hang on, bear with me. We've got the machine to the rescue. There you go. So that should come off there now.
Huh.
Fantastic. Okay. Now we can get a bit more lube in there. So that's your cylinders, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
They don't look too badly scored. Okay. Right. Now, if you can see in here, look. See this funny looking...
Okay, so they're like half.
Yeah. So you've got one piston, but it's doing 2 cylinders.
Yeah.
And then you've got this piece here, which is at a funny angle. We'll see more of that in a minute. But that's called a swash plate. And you find that this style of pump in your water blasters quite often as well. We took a bit of spray in there, trying to lube the whole thing up because, like I said, it's not got any lube at all. And maybe, just maybe, we can see it turn. Hopefully the whole, there we are, look. Oh, it turns so, lubrication makes all the difference, doesn't it? Yeah, Sam, give that a go. I'll spray a bit of spray in these cylinders while you're doing that. It's stuck. There you go.
Yeah, that's lovely.
Much better, isn't it? Much freer. So the whole thing has just dried out.
Yeah, it looks really dry.
It was never going to work, was it? So I feel so much better now pulling it apart. Okay, so what we can do now, maybe we'll do a close-up because that's really cool, isn't it? That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Now we'll finish hammering again. Alright, Sam. So a good side-on effect, and you can see how the swash plate works as you rotate it. It moves those pistons up and down. Very cool. You think that that's pumping up, and those pistons move up and down really quite fast, because that pulley spins probably about crankshaft speed, maybe just slightly slower. Does it keep jamming? Does it? Look, it's just.
It was going real good, and then.
Yeah, there we are. Look, it's pretty cool. Yeah, I'll give it another go. I wonder if the bearing's a bit dry at the back, at the other end. Maybe that's why it's sticking. Awesome stuff. Coolio. Okay, so the next, all that's left to do now is to actually extract the shaft with the swash plate, and all the pistons will come out at the same time. So I've only got a few fingers. There's going to be 5 pistons, probably a shitload of ball bearings, a shaft that could all potentially end up on the floor. So are you ready for this?
Yeah.
Do you want to catch some pistons? Way. Okay, so you might have to take them out one at a time. Maybe not. Way. I knew one was going to fall on the floor. It's alright.
Always makes that awful.
Yeah, so there's the swash plate. Oh, it's got a radial bearing on it as well. Awesome. Okay, so I managed to catch one. There's another radial bearing. So those are the bearings that could be sort of semi-seized, causing it to struggle. Now, inside there, you can see this little swivelly bit, like a half ball bearing, isn't it? And that runs on the swash plate. It's quite clever, really, how they work. There you go. That's another one there. Look, that fell out. So that might be that one. You got any more out of the other ones? Have we got all of them, or is any missing?
There will be 2 missing.
Right.
So I'll put this one and this one.
Cool.
This one.
Okay, we've got a little sensor. We can pull that out while I've got this in the vise. So you get your Makita, just buzz those 2 bolts out for us. Cool, that's one. 2, fantastic. That should now, he says, hopefully, come out of there. There's my hammer. Hammers are always useful, aren't they? Goodbye, sensor. Okay. Go on, please not put this back together again. It's pretty tight, isn't it?
Mm.
All the corrosion, I think.
Yeah.
Jeez. Well, it has been there a very long time, I suppose. Could just do with 2 screwdrivers right now. See what we've got in here. Alright, that'll work. There you go, Sam. Ta-da! So what does that sense? Is it temperature?
Yeah, it's warm.
It's only because the workshop's warm. But what does it sense in there? Does it sense temperature? I don't know.
That's what I thought, because it felt warm.
I haven't come across one of them before. So maybe I'll have to do some research. Or you can tell me on the comments. What do you think this is? Somebody will know. Be good to find out. Okay, well it's all in bits, Sam. You've destroyed something else.
Yes.
Yes, good job. But as regards those cylinders, they look pretty clean. They're not
Yeah.
scored or anything, are they?
Yeah.
It's not contaminated, so that's all
Looks
right.
awful on the outside and shiny on the
It does, doesn't it? And I mean, both ends are almost symmetrical. So the pistons, when they're moving up and down, the tops of the pistons are at this end here. This is like where the end plate goes on, isn't it? That's the one. That's the back side. And it's very important that everything's aligned up correctly. You see the little pinholes in there? And what you've got here, believe it or not, because the whole job of this tool is to, or this device, is to compress a gas, essentially. So as the piston goes down in the cylinder, it draws the low pressure gas in, or the low pressure gas would go in anyway, it goes in, and then when the piston comes up, it compresses it, just like on a car engine, really. And on a car engine, we have valves, don't we, to let the mixture in and let the exhaust fumes out, basically. Well, the valves on this are done by this metal plate, which is there, look. That's it. So when it sucks in, obviously this is either the intake or the exhaust, should I say, or inlet or output. There must be more valves, yes there are, that do the other port. Let's have a little look in here. There we go. So we've got some more. Can you see here? Look, there's 5 more ports there, and this also acts under there as a little valve. If I can get it off. Is it going to come off? It should come off. There we are. Right. So yeah, look. You see. So those are just little mini versions of those as well. Pretty damn cool, isn't it? How it works. So when it pushes the piston goes up, it's compressing the gas, it'll force, I imagine that this is the output, it'll force that open and the gas will go out. And then when the piston comes back in again, this will then get sucked down because of the depression and the low pressure gas will go in. And that's how they work. There's really very few moving parts. But I suppose eventually one of these might snap off due to metal fatigue. Yeah, really simple design, and totally not serviceable. You just, if it broke, you just want to get another second-hand one, wouldn't you? Because I imagine a new one of these would be pretty expensive, and you wouldn't be able to buy parts for it. Nobody will sell you bits for it. You couldn't go to Total and say, "Oh, I'd like a new swash plate, please, for my." That's a good voice, wasn't it?
Yeah.
"I'd like a new swash plate, please, for my compressor pump on my air conditioning," and they go, "Mate, you need to buy a whole new compressor. You can't just buy a swash plate, you know." So yeah, I think it's pretty cool how these things work, and the students found them really interesting. It was a very different type of engineering going on. They'd never seen a swash plate before, and how it could move pistons up and down.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I thought you'd like that today. Just give you a nice easy afternoon. You know?
Yeah.
And you can see here, these are the pistons, like a double-ended piston. That's the piston crowns. And there's no piston rings. It's just a really tight fit, a really snug fit in the actual bore. See that? So it's actually enough of a seal to do what it needs to do. There'll always be a bit of wastage, but I mean there's 10 pistons all moving up and down really, really quick. So even if you lost 2 or 3% down the side of the piston, it wouldn't make much difference really. That's all designed into it. And then you've got these little things which sit between the piston and the swash plate, like a bearing. And that looks like aluminium to me. I think it is. I don't know. Where's the magnet? It is. Look at that. So you've got a really soft metal making up the swash plates, and you can see where it's bonded onto the steel shaft just down there. And then you've got a hardened steel, almost like a little button, isn't it? It's like a half bearing, half ball bearing, and it just sits on there. And that's your bearing surface. So as that spins round, it keeps in contact all the time with both sides. There's 2 of them, both sides of the swash plate, and the piston just has to move up and down, doesn't it? Man, I'd like to meet the guy that designed this. 'Cause it's like, who would have thought of that as a design? It's fantastic. But you do come across this kind of stuff in, like I said, pressure washers and that kind of thing as well. Similar sort of thing with a swash plate. It's cool. Good job. Right, back to the bench, Sam. Bet my coffee's cold now.
Yeah.
Really cold. Okay, so what was it all about? Well, these things are really interesting inside, and I just wanted to really Sam to see different kind of engineering, different kind of technology that goes on. And you can see that's the double-ended piston there, look. And these little nugget things are the bearings, the bearing surfaces. In fact, Sam, can you just pass me the swash plate? Can you find that over there somewhere? Is it there, the shaft? I'm going to see if I can just get this back on the swash plate. It's actually really difficult because it only goes on in one direction. So just slide that back in there again. Can you imagine how hard it would be to get all 5? That's why we have machines, isn't it? I will be editing. There'll be an edit cut any second now because I'm going to lose my rag with this. I'm sure I am, but my little flat screwdriver down there, Sam. As well. Put it around there somewhere. Don't put it away. Oh, you put it away. Yeah. Sorry. So you've got to sit them dead flat in the piston because there's no clearance, and then the swash plate should just drop back in again. It's not easy, I tell you. All right, I'm just going to do one. I'm not going to do both of them. I'm going to do one because I don't have the patience today. All right, so there's the little bearing there, and the swash plate sits. Oh, there's a hair on it. Get rid of that. Put it on my mates, actually. Right. So the swash plate sits. Lots of outtakes. Okay, so here is the piston with the little bearing piece in there, and the swash plate just sits on there. And you've got to imagine there's another one of those nuggets just above as well, on top of the swash plate. So as that turns, the piston has to follow the swash plate. I reckon you get the idea. It's not difficult. But we've got 2 dissimilar metals here. We've got a very, very hard bearing surface here. That little thing, like a ball bearing, or half a ball bearing. And we've got aluminium. And you'd think, well, how on earth, why does it not just wear out really quick? Well, often in bearings, they'll use a soft metal and a hard metal and a bit of lubrication, and it'll be just fine. And this is a prime example of that. This has done millions and millions of revolutions in its time, and it really isn't, there's no significant wear on it at all. It's pretty cool. So the valves. What about the valves, Andy? Well, the valves are all housed in the end plates, and this is the one that didn't fall on the floor and self-destructs. It's all still together, and you'll see we've got valves under there, that one there, which I believe is the inlet. I've got a 50% chance of being right here. Pretty sure that's the inlet. It is the inlet. There's the inlet because the valve bends inwards to open. And then once the piston comes back open, it compresses the gas. It pushes open a similar but smaller valve just in there, look. Okay, I can actually open it with the screwdriver. So that's when the gas is piston's TDC, it's finished the compression stroke, so to speak. It pushes that valve open, and that high pressure gas then goes off around the system again. Goes through the what's it called? It's a condenser. Yes, goes through the condenser, which is the radiator in front of your car's coolant radiator. It's all coming back to me now. It's a while since I've taught this. And these are just flexible steel plates. So there's no real moving parts. It just flexes and it moves because of a pressure differential. That's what you've got to bear in mind. Okay, what else have we got? Well, the bores. Yeah, look, it's almost like a gun.
Yeah.
Where you put the bullets, isn't it? You put some pretty big bullets in there, couldn't you? But what do you call those things? When you
Revolvers.
Yeah, but the bit you spin that holds the bullets, there's a particular name for it, isn't there?
It's not American, I wouldn't.
No, I'm not a gun person.
Nah, that's stupid.
I used to have an air rifle, it's about as good as it got. But there you go. They're actually, all the bores are in really good nick. So it survived pretty well, considering it had no lubrication.
Despite being a doorstop.
I've lost my doorstop. I'm going to have to put that together again, my doorstop.
Or just use one of the parts.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see. Okay, so what was the video all about? Well, this is what's inside a compressor on your air conditioning system. And there are different styles. There's rotary type and there's the swash plate type. And this is the swash plate type, and it has essentially 5 double-ended pistons, and there's 10 cylinders, so to speak. So that's pretty cool. 10 cylinders. It's more than the engine had. The engine only had 4. So I thought you might like that. And Sam, I think Sam's enjoyed taking it apart. I think you thought it was going to take a lot longer to take apart.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you're deciding to, I think delete's the word. If you're going to delete the air compressor, the compressor pump off your car to save a few dollars in fuel, then don't just chuck it in the bin. Why not pull it apart and have a look inside, because they're actually pretty interesting. Okay, crew. Well, that's about it from me. How about you, Sam?
Yep.
Anything to tell the people? Any news? Are you going to come back?
Yeah.
You better do. You're in big trouble if you don't. Okay, well, if you want to subscribe and you can ring the bell, you see a new phrase for the channel now. Ring the bell, and our friends down at YouTube will send you an email as and when I upload any new videos. You'll also find me on
Facebook, Instagram, Google Plus, and Twitter.
You sure will. Feel free to communicate through any of those portals. You can even talk to me through Patreon if you like as well. But first point of contact, if you don't mind, if there's a question specifically about this particular video, then the comments on YouTube would be perfect, because that's where I am most of the time. Talking of Patreon page, you can drop onto there. There's lots of history about the channel. There's now individual profiles for each of the tool girls. Very cool. Sam gets a really good write-up. She's not ready yet, but I'm sure she'll be sending me a text later on saying, "Cheers, Andy." I'm sure she will. Okay, crew. Well, until next time, it's goodbye from me.
Tool Girl Sam over and out.
Tool girl Sam. She's so cool. Just so
Cool
composed.
Girl Sam.
Cool girl
Oi.
Sam. Or is it Samaday?
Still Samaday.
We've been filming on Samaday. That's what it is. All these different nicknames now. It's good, isn't it? Samaday filming. No ciders though. Let you down there, didn't I? You don't feel like ciders
I
today,
don't
do you?
drink anyway.
Nah, I'm a bad influence. All right, chaps. Until next time. Oh, and chapettes. Until next time. See you around. Over and out. And we get the flip again.
Oh!
Yes.